Well, hello and welcome to the Brian Hornback podcast. This is episode 56, and we're recording this on Martin Luther King Day, 2022. We're about 30 days out now from the filing deadline for the May 3rd, 2022 primaries, Democrat-Republican primaries in the state of Tennessee. So here in Knox County, we've had a pretty steady stream of folks picking up petitions, returning petitions, and currently on BrianHornback.com, I'm following 4 counties. I'm following Knox, Loudon, Blount, and Sevier. And right now, all I'm doing on there is I'm updating who's picking up petitions, what position they're picking up for, and what they're turning in. I guess I need to turn on some lights here for the YouTube folks, because there's a lot of shadow. Hello. There we go. All right, YouTube folks, there's you some light. So it's been a pretty interesting. Let's just go with. Let's go out and let's circle back to Knox last. Okay, so we're going to start out in Loudon. Buddy Bradshaw, the Republican incumbent out there, has had 2 other people pick up petitions, but Susan Gingrich has withdrawn her petitions. So he's got Ken Brewster right now, who's a Republican who's picked up a petition to run against Buddy Bradshaw. Out there in the 1st district, one of the commissioners, Kelly Littleton Brewster, is not going to run. Her husband was Loudon city councilman, and he's come down with an illness and had to resign. So I think she's really just going to spend some time with him. Chase Randolph has returned his petition. He's running for that seat that Kelly's in. And David Mears is the incumbent in the other District 1 seat. In District 2, Julia Hurley has generated a couple of opponents. William Jenkins, who's on the Loudon County School Board. Interestingly enough about Mr. Jenkins is he's missed 15 school board meetings in the time he's been on the school board. So I'm sure we'll be talking about that in the near future. Also, Matthew Tinker in the 2nd District has apparently running for re-election. In the 3rd District, Bill Satterfield is running for re-election, it appears. Gary Whitfield in the 4th District. Harold Duff in the seat A, 5th District seat, is apparently running for re-election. In the seat B seat, incumbent Van Schaefer is being challenged by popular former road superintendent Eddie Simpson in District 5, seat B. In the 6th District, Adam Waller, the incumbent, is being challenged by popular businessman entrepreneur Mark Matlock. And in District 7, Henry Cullen, the commission chairman, apparently so far has gone without an opponent picking up a petition. For trustee, Chip Miller does not have an opponent as of yet. The 2 general sessions judges do not have opponents. However, in the sheriff's race, we have at least 3 people that have picked up petitions, and I'm expecting a 4th one. I'm expecting Dino Guider, who has said that he's going to run for sheriff, to run for that as well. Circuit Court Clerk, Steve Harrelson's unopposed. County Clerk, we don't have an incumbent in that because that incumbent is not seeking to run for re-election. So we have Amy Langley and Riley Wampler. For Registered Deeds, we have Tammy Gallagher and Rick Arp. And for Road Superintendent, right now, we have Billy Pickle and Sean Giles. That's in Loudon County. Then there's some Loudon County School Board going on out there as well, but we'll cover that later. In Blount County, wow, you know what? This is not the sheet that has the incumbents on it. Dadnabbit. Maybe we'll come back to Blount County on another day. Out there in Sevier County, Larry Waters so far is unopposed in the Republican primary. Warren Hurst is unopposed in County Commission District 1, Seat A. In Seat B, Tommy Watts is the incumbent, but he's got a couple of folks that have petitions out. Dale Bullock and Ronnie Breeden. In District 2, Seat A has been served by Ben Claybo. Ben, apparently, I don't guess, is running for re-election. There's a couple of folks that picked up petitions. Jeffrey Ayers, James Brandon Hedrick. In District 2, Seat B, Philip King is the incumbent. And Philip Bull and Don McGill have picked up petitions. District 3, Seat A, Dale Hill is the incumbent. District 3, Seat B, Mike Chambers is the incumbent. So far, they don't have opponents. District 4, Seat A, Ronnie Whaley is the incumbent, and he has a potential opponent in Raymond Lewis Fisher III. In District 4, Seat B, Carol Rohoff was the incumbent, and Johnny Bohannon has picked up a petition. Also in District 4, Seat 4C, we have Keith Whaley, who I have down having been elected in 2018. And right now, Jack Parton is the incumbent, and Steve Leo has picked up a petition. In District 5, Seat A, Michael Madron is the incumbent. In District 5, Seat B, Fred Axley. District 5, Seat C, James Frank Parton. In District 6, Seat A, Greg Haggard had served there. And so far, Michael Pollard and Chad Ogle have picked up petitions. And Chad Ogle's on Facebook. I did notice that the other day. County Commission 6, District 6, Seat B, John Harold Pittner is the incumbent. In County Commission District 7, Seat A, Ronnie Allen is the incumbent. He's generated a couple of folks. Jim Flynn has already returned his petition, and Charles Gibson has one out. Mary Davis is the county commissioner in District 7, Seat B, and Scott Catlett has picked up a petition there. In County Commission District 8, Seat A, Aaron Foster is the incumbent. In District 8, Seat B, Mike Hillard is incumbent, and he has a couple of folks, Dustin Cody Wilhite and William Sellers, who have picked up petitions. The rest of them in District 8, Seat C, District 9, Seat A, District 9, Seat B, and District 10, Seat A, District 10, Seat B, District 11, Seat A, and District 11, Seat B. All those are so far incumbents who have not generated an opponent that's picked up a petition yet. Kent Woods in 8C, David Buster Norton in 9A, Chuck Godfrey III in Seat 9B, Brian Deluse in District 10, Seat A, Todd Humble in District 10, Seat B, Gary Cole in District 11, Seat A, and Ray Ogle in District 11, Seat B. Now, County Trustee, Greg Patterson has moved on to the city of Gatlinburg, I'm told, and Faye Loveday has picked up a petition for County Trustee. Ron Seals, the sheriff, has decided to retire, and we have a couple of folks, Michael Hodges and David McGill, that have picked up petitions for that. Karen Cotter is the county clerk. She's not picked up a petition for that yet. And that's Adra Rowland and Angela Tinker. Then we have some other court clerks. Circuit Court Clerk Gwen Brown and Karen Whaley actually have picked up petitions. And General Sessions Court Clerk Penny Johnson has picked up and returned a petition. Register of Deeds is going currently, that's Cindy Barnes Pickle. And the road superintendent is Jonas Smelcher. He's the incumbent. They have a plethora of constables that we'll go through later on another podcast. Let's just look and see what constables have generated more than one. In District 1, currently is serving with Keith Brackens. There's two people that picked up there. Constable District 2A, Penny Campbell is so far not generated an opponent. Constable District 2, Seat B, Sam Ayers has generated someone who's picked up a petition against him. District 3, Seat A, David Huffaker so far has not generated an opponent. District 3, Seat B, Samuel Scott has generated someone named Troy Allen Sellers who's picked up a petition. Jack Gallion in District 4, Seat A, Randall Walker, Randall Radar, in District 4, Seat B, Richard McMahon in District 5, Seat A, Billy Siegel in District 5, Seat B, all have not generated opponents as of yet. The General Sessions judges are all pretty solid. They haven't generated any attorneys picking up petitions. You have to be an attorney in order to run for judge. And then you have a couple of incumbents in the school board, District 1 and District 3, Mike Oakley and Mark Strange, have not generated anyone picking up a petition there yet. Becky Williams-Barnes must not be running. She has not picked up a petition yet, and she has a couple of opponents in Maria Mercedes Bailey and Kevin Townsend. There is one independent that's picked up a petition for county mayor, and that's Leo Rumbaugh. So that's kind of interesting. Again, I'll apologize for not having the incumbent list for Blount County. Maybe I do. Let's see what I got here. It sucks when you're, well, it doesn't suck, but this is what you get when you have a one-man show. One man and a computer. You know, they said one time Susan Richardson Williams named Lloyd Daugherty in the Tennessee Conservatives Union. Lloyd since passed away, but he was here in Knoxville, and he was here in Knoxville, and he was one of two guys that was the Tennessee Conservative Union. I think the other guy was down in Chattanooga, and it was. She said it was two guys in a fax machine. Guess we don't have fax machines anymore, right? So anyway, let's go to Knox County. The judge, we really only have three judges really that's drawn any attention. Clarence Pridemore, who is a chancellor in Part 2, he had ran against Daryl Fansler, the Democrat, 8 years ago. And he beat Daryl Fansler, primarily, I think, because Daryl was a Democrat and Pridemore was Republican. Same thing happened to Harold Wimberly. Harold's since passed away, but Harold was a circuit court judge, and Bill Ayler had ran against Harold Wimberly and won. And so those were the last two Democrat countywide positions that Knox County had that were Democrat. And we're going to talk about Matt Sears and the Democrats here in just a minute. But anyway, so you have three judges' positions that's generated some attention. And we have a lot of judges in Knox County. But Chancellor Pridemore is one. He got an early opponent in Dino Cole, a local lawyer. And then also now Richard Bud Armstrong, former law director. So there's three of them running for Chancellor Part 2 on the Republican side. Also, Judge Jeff Emery, who had served since the late 80s, he retired December 31st. And so the county commission appointed Judd Davis from the district attorney general's office in that seat, and he was appointed just at the end of the year, first of this year. So Judd Davis is being opposed right now by Sharon Frankenberg in the Republican primary, and then the Democrats have Sarah Keith, who also had worked in the district attorney general's office, who will be challenging more than likely Judd in the general election on August the 6th. They got to get through the primaries first and then the general in August. And I say more than likely, Judd. Apparently, when she picked up a petition, she picked one up for District 2, Division 2 General Sessions and Division 1, which is Chuck Cerny. And so that's and then also Judge Tony Stansberry in Division 5 of General Sessions Court has generated an opponent in Steve Weiner. Not been much attention in that race yet. Not sure that there will be. I think Tony, from what I understand, has a pretty good, solid team that's putting together his messaging and his campaign. And so not sure how that one's going to pan out. Other than that, so those are the only 3 judicial races right now that has any opposition. Sharm Allen has picked up a potential Democrat opponent in Jackson Fenner. Fenner ran against David Book 2 years ago for law director. Did not do well. Glenn Jacobs has picked up a couple of potential Democrat opponents for County Mayor Bob Fisher, well known on the blogosphere here in Knoxville, and Tyler Givens. And Givens has already been making some appearances at a city council meeting last week. Gina Oster right now is unopposed in the Republican primary. Gina has served on the merit system. She currently serves as chair of the merit council, and she also had ran for school board several years ago, and recently ran against Eddie Manis in a close Republican primary for state representative. She does have a Democrat that's picked up a petition, Anthony. I don't know how to say your last name, bro. I'll learn it, though. Then out in the 7th District, where Charles Bustler's been serving, Rhonda Lee and Chuck Severance are going to square off in the Republican primary. That's a done deal. Both of their petitions are in. Larson J., County Commissioner at Large, Seat 10, he picked up a Democrat challenger today who launched everything, Dylan Early, who in his press release that I got last week said he was a former Republican, born and raised out of Greene County up in Upper East Tennessee. So I'm going to be interested to hear from Dylan Early and hear what his plans are. In the district, in the County Commission at Large, Seat 11, that's the position that Justin Biggs is vacating. He served there for 4 years, and he's running for county trustee in a job that he's had for a number of years in the trustee's office. But Kim Frazier is out running hard for County Commission at Large, and she has an opponent, Devin Driscoll, in the Republican primary. Then Vivian Underwood Shipe, a lot of people know Vivian. She's running as a Democrat, and then Donald Bridges is running as an independent. Justin Biggs so far in the county trustee race. Juvenile court judge Tim Irwin is looking okay with no attorneys that are mad at him that are talking about running against him. Then that puts us into the sheriff's race. That's Jimmy J.J. Jones and Tom Spangler. Jimmy Jones served for about 10 years, had to step out due to term limits, but he's coming back to challenge Tom Spangler in the Republican primary on May the 3rd. Charles Susano, Mike Hammond, Sherry Witt, and Nick McBride, all relatively unopposed. No one's picked up a petition. No one's made any sounds. And I would think if somebody was going to challenge them, they would have already done so. Let's talk about school board. Out in the 1st District, we have John Butler, who's going to run as a Democrat. We have Brianna Holloway and Reginald Jackson, who are running as independents. I know Reginald, met him, had some communications with him. And so what will happen there is we now have partisan school board elections, right? So you have potential of a Republican, a potential of a Democrat, and a potential of an independent. The Republicans and the Democrats will run off in the May 3rd primary, just as any other Republican primary. So if John Butler is unopposed in the Democrat primary, then he'll be on the ballot May 3rd unopposed. The independents will not show up on the ballot until August the 6th. And so you'll have the Republican and the Democrat and then any independents that qualify. So there could be a plethora of independents. In the 4th District, now the 1st District was represented for the last 3.5 years by Evity Satterfield. She's choosing not to run for re-election. In the 4th District, Virginia Babb has chosen not to run for re-election. And you have Will Edwards, prominent Knoxville lawyer with the law firm of Long, Ragsdale, and Waters, who's running as Republican. And you have Catherine Bike, who's picked up as a Democrat. In the 6th District, you have Betsy Henderson, the incumbent, and you have someone named Heather Hensley, who's also run as Republican. Both of them run as Republican. This is not the same Heather Hensley that those of you that follow me on Facebook see me, who is also known as a Democrat, who had ran against Roger Kane for a state representative back in 2016, I believe it was. That Heather Hensley is not the same Heather Hensley. Then out in the 7th District, that's Patty Bounds. She's not seeking re-election. She ran for state house against Michelle Carringer last year. So she's choosing to step down. We have 3 candidates for Republicans: Sherry Garrett, Steve Triplett, Cameron Ward. And we have a Dominique Oakley in District 7 who's picked up a petition as an independent. And then out in District 9, we have the current Knox County School Board Chair, Christy Christie, who's run as Republican, along with a challenger, Phil King. And then there's a Democrat, Annabelle Henley. Let's talk about these Democrats. You know, for the last 5 or 6 years, the Democrats have put up some folks that, for lack of a better term, were just, I don't know the word I'm looking for. They were just kind of token opposition. That'd be a good word. Linda Haney ran for county mayor against Glenn Jacobs 4 years ago. Again, that was token opposition. Linda Haney was she was a Democrat Party chair. But Matt Sears became the Democrat Party chair sometime before the city election, before the primary on August 31st, and the city general in November. And so Matt Sears is a relatively young guy. He has taken over the helm of the Knox County Democrat Party, and he's made it a point to seek out and encourage. And from what I understand from looking at some of the social media stuff, I mean, he's actually gone out and kind of identified candidates and actually contacted them and actually did some recruitment, which is a novel idea. You know, me being a former party chairman, it's a novel idea to go out and recruit candidates. But Matt Sears has done that. And so I tell people that although I'm a Republican, you know, here on the blog and on the podcast, you know, I try to make sure that everybody who qualifies has some exposure. And if I were Matt Sears and I was running as the minority party chairman, I would be doing what Matt Sears is doing. I would be recruiting candidates, and I would be encouraging candidates, and I would be raising money for candidates to be successful. How successful you're going to be against a popular county mayor like Glenn Jacobs, kind of hard to tell. Could you potentially pick off a school board seat now that they're partisan? Maybe, probably. I would think that, I would think that the 1st and maybe the 4th has a potential of being purple, red and blue. Red and blue make purple. I would think that those districts would tend to be more purple, the 1st and the 4th. That's why you're seeing, I think, Sequoia Hills kind of come into a Democratic state rep district, is because the dynamics are changing in Sequoia Hills, and that's a lot of District 4, or that is part of District 4. And so he's doing what's necessary. I mean, could he pick up a county commission seat? It's possible. You got somebody that's pretty high profile with Vivian Shipe. You got somebody that's young and energetic like Dylan Early. This summer could be interesting here in Knoxville. And we just don't know what the dynamics are going to be going into the state primary, which is also on the same day as our county general, with the state rep races. So that's kind of a summation of where we're at, what we're doing. I anticipate on the podcast picking up some folks here in the next week or so, going ahead and getting some of those knocked out and getting those out there for you to hear. And then obviously you can re-listen to them as we get closer to early vote and Election Day on May the 3rd. So thanks for tuning into this episode of the Brian Hornback Podcast, and y'all have a great week. And hope you spent some time just thinking about our community. Oh, that was interesting for those of you on YouTube. Those of you that had the day off, or even if you did work today, I hope you took some time to kind of think about the civil rights movement, what Martin Luther King meant for our country, how we have evolved as a country, and certainly how we will proceed in the future in this country, because clearly things changed with Martin Luther King, and I would stand to say that those things were for the better, where every man is judged by the character and not by the color or the content of his thoughts. So it's a good day, good Martin Luther King Day, and let's just continue practicing what Martin Luther King taught every day, and not just concentrated on it on one day. So again, thank you for tuning in to the Brian Hornback podcast. Feel free to reach out to me at Brian, BRIAN, at brianhornback.com. That's BRIANHORNBACK.com. Find me on all the socials. Twitter is mega_bullhorn, BULLHORN. Facebook and Instagram, you can find me at brianhornback.com. Spell it out, DOTCOM, Brian Hornback, DOTCOM on Facebook and on Instagram. Any other socials? You're hearing this on hosted on Anchor FM, but you're hearing it on all your other pod streams as well. So go ahead and give us a like, give us a rating, give us a share, and tell all your friends that brianhornback.com is where you need to go, and the Brian Hornback podcast is where you need to be listening. So again, thank you all very much, and we'll talk to you again real soon.